This is the third Tuesday of the month Waupaca City Council meeting.
Okay, welcome everybody to our City Council night. We actually have a little bit of a change tonight. We have a public hearing first before we go into the actual City Council meeting. So I do call this meeting to order, and we'll ask Sandy to take roll for us.
Brian Smith.
Here.
Steve Hackett.
Here.
Lori Chestnut.
Here.
Paul Hagan.
Here.
Alan Keeland.
Here.
Scott Perchatsky.
Here.
Dave Peterson.
Here.
Paul Mayo.
Here.
Chuck Whitman.
Here.
Jillian Peterson. Here. And Eric Olson.
Here.
10 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Sandy. And before we take testimony in favor or against the property tax levy and budget, we're going to have Kathy just give us a little rundown of the purpose of this hearing.
Well, the purpose of this hearing is to review all of the tax-supported budgets and just to kind of go over some of the factors in how I developed those budgets for you to be able to make decisions. The first one is the water utility budget, which was vetoed by Mayor Smith. It did not have the anticipated 3% increase from the simplified rate case. I did some more digging, and the current rate of return on the utility is, as of the end of 2014, was 3.85. Our rate case authorizes us from the PSC to be at a 6.5% rate of return as of 2008. And going forward, if we would anticipate getting a 3% rate increase, it would generate $39,287 in additional revenue and bring the rate of return up to 4.5%. So that's some more information on the water utility budget. For the online utility budget, which was also vetoed by Mayor Smith due to the revenues being forecasted a little higher, after talking to Josh Werner, we've adjusted the revenues to be a little bit more conservative, however, did not change any of the expenditures, just showed a little bit less return on the fund, in that it's pretty much remains the same for expenditures. The Capital Projects Fund, I am presenting it with the following factors, and one of them is that we have a $35,000 one-year note that would be to purchase the police vehicle that in prior years would have been included in the operating budget. However, we're going to put it in the Capital Projects Fund and borrow 1 year from the State Trust Fund loan at a cost of 2.5%, which will cost us about $875 in interest costs. The other one is to fund $360,000 a project off of the 2015-16 capital projects list using a $400,000 State Trust Fund loan for 5 years. There is $40,000 that's budgeted to be funded with this State Trust Fund loan in the airport fund. And it is an increase in the authorized amount from the 2015 budget of $331,800, which is the remaining of the original amount authorized due to the higher cost of the 2015 projects. It's my recommendation to increase the borrowing by this little amount to be able to keep our road maintenance on a higher average than would have been available under the $331,800, which would have only given Justin $76,000 worth of road projects. With the new addition of additional funds, it brings up the street rehab projects to $145,000. The reason why is the state looks at a 3-year and a 6-year average of how much you're putting back into your roads to determine in the formula to determine your state transportation aids. And because we did not do any projects in 2013, we ended up losing $40,000 worth of state transportation aids for 2016. So to keep the average of road maintenance and road aid qualified projects at a rate that will not allow us to go under the hold harmless, which is based on the average, you don't get no, you can't be you're held harmless for up to 85% of the prior year's funding. So if our average goes down again, we will probably lose another $35,000 in road aids next year. So to continue to keep our maintenance, I'm recommending that we increase the borrow to $400,000 and do $145,000 worth of roads. $160,000 will still be in the capital projects fund for the renovation projects for the city hall, the $40,000 for the tarmac at the airport, the 25% cost share for the downtown rehab project conception plan, and the $30,000 worth of financial software upgrade that was authorized. So that, in a nutshell, is the capital improvement budget. For the debt service budget, we are lowering the tax levy amount by $75,000. And this is accomplished in a couple of ways. One, our debt is being paid off much faster. In that in 2015, we did budget to pay $90,000 debt payment in addition to what was required for 2015. So we prepaid some of the debt. The other one is the recommendation that we refinance the Recreation Center 2004 Community Development Authority lease revenue bonds. These bonds are at a higher interest rate than what we can borrow under the state trust fund loan. It will add to our tax-supported debt in that it would come under our GO debt, our government obligations or general obligation debt. And however, that change will still keep us within our debt policy of, it'll be within 67% of our capacity under our debt service policy. However, it's way below our ability to borrow under the state statutes, which is 5% of our assessed value. So I believe that the savings, according to R.W. Baird, our financial advisor, ran the numbers, and with a interest rate of 3%, we would have a savings of approximately $461,000. One of the things that would do is that it would pay off the debt in early 2019, or even as early as 2018, and reduce the amount that we would need to levy in 17, 18, and 19 for this debt issue. So there is a cost savings with doing that. See what else on the debt service. So that's one of the options that you have for deciding for the debt service fund budget. There is also a transfer in the debt service of $25,000, which is fund balance from prior years tax levy that is sitting in the debt service fund that we're going to use to offset the need for funding in the general operating budget. The 2016 airport fund, there are no changes from the October 28th budget. There is sufficient financing to reduce the levy support by $40,000, but provide $40,000 for the tarmac project. And all of that is going to be accounted for within the airport fund next year. The transit fund has an $8,000 levy support as in prior years, and the remaining funding is for this fund is through state and federal government aids, and there are no changes in the expenditures for this fund. The library fund is new, and we are providing this as a separate reporting for the library, in that they will be able to retain any of their fund balance for any projects that they have in the future years, and only be supported with a levy support. And that amount has not changed since the October 28th budget workshop. The adult recreation fund, there are no changes again. There is $5,000 of park maintenance costs being budgeted within this fund for 2016 instead of the general fund, to use the funds generated by these programs to assist in the maintenance of the parks facilities that use them. Inland Lakes Fund, there are no changes, and only maintenance expenditures are being budgeted with the use of funds received from 2015 from the state of Wisconsin. The hotel motel tax, there are no changes in this fund. The determining factor of this fund is the amount of hotel motel taxes collected and distributed to the city, the Waupaca Area Chamber of Commerce, and grants to area groups for promoting tourism. 2016 general fund is being presented with a $250,000 transfer from fund or use of fund balance to set up a contingency amount to keep the reduction of the general fund's operating expenses to a negative reduction of 4% because of transferring out the library. The reason we're doing that is under the expenditure restraint program, in which we receive approximately $186,000 in aids, we would have to have had to hold our budget to a 0.5% increase. And in normal years, that would only allow us to have an increase in the general fund budget by just over $20,000, which is pretty hard to do. What I am recommending is that we don't fill the complete $700 and some thousand that we're transferring out to the library fund, but to just fill in with $250,000. And then in the next council meeting, I'll bring through a contingency policy that would require a supermajority of the council to decide whether or not to use those contingency funds. Otherwise, the general fund is the same. I've provided a line item detail budget within the packet. If anybody has any questions, that's pretty much all of the budgets. You know, it's fast and there's a lot of numbers, but this tax levy supported budgets would, with our assessed value, have a tax rate of $8.62 or 10 cents less than the 2014 rate. And all of it is to do with the fact that we're increasing, how would you say this? We're increasing the operations levy under the levy limits law by that $9,152, but we're also we're reducing our debt service levy by $75,000. So the net effect is about a $67,000 decrease in the levy.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. At this time, then, we would take testimony from the audience, or council for that matter, or staff, that would like to speak in favor of the proposed property tax levy and budget. If there's anybody that'd like to give testimony, please give your name and address for the record. Limit your discussion to 3 minutes or less. Anybody would like to give testimony in favor? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go to testimony in opposition. If we have anybody that would like to give testimony in opposition to our property tax levy and budget that's proposed, please give your name and address and keep your discussion to 3 minutes or less. Anybody that would like to give testimony in opposition? Seeing none, I will declare this hearing closed at 6:16 p.m. And we'll go right into the city council meeting. Sandy, you're okay?
Yep.
Okay, welcome everybody to our regular city council meeting. I do call this meeting to order. Usually we have the youth of the month. We have not gotten on board yet with that this year, so we're still working on that. So let's move right to the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please rise, face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could just stand just for a second again to remember those people in Paris that were so brutally Thank you. And we'll ask Sandy to read the open meeting statement for us.
This meeting and all other meetings of the Common Council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin state statutes, so the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting.
Thanks, and take roll, please, Sandy.
Brian Smith.
Here.
Steve Hackett.
Here.
Lori Chestnut.
Here.
Paul Hagan.
Here.
Alan Keeland.
Here.
Scott Perchatsky.
Here.
Dave Peterson.
Here.
Paul Mayo.
Here.
Chuck Whitman.
Here.
Jillian Peterson. And Eric Olson. 10 present. We have a quorum.
Next, you have the consent agenda. These are items that we take one motion and one vote on that. There were no additional handouts to the consent agenda, so what you see is what you have. Unless council would like to see any items moved from the consent agenda to the regular agenda, I would be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Keelan, second by Chestnut, that we approve the consent agenda as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Some of those letters are harder to say than others. Under the regular agenda, Sandy, you have a couple of items.
I do. Under number 9, unfinished business, letter D, corrected page number 6 of the WPPA labor agreement was distributed. And also under number 9, unfinished business, letter E, budgets for tax-supported funds adopted by resolution number 1356 were emailed and also placed on the city website on Saturday, November 14th, 2015. That's it.
Okay, and then, Henry, you had a recommendation under the regular agenda?
Yes, sir. Under new business, we have a couple people that are traveling, realizing that we have a number of agenda items to maybe allow them to maybe go first. I think in the past we've done that.
So you want to do the,
A and B, I would say.
so you want to do those before unfinished business? Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
And we have no issue with that? Mr. Hart? We're okay with that? Okay, so we're asking that you just put 10A and B first before 9. Pretty good numbering system, isn't it? And Sandy told you about the 2 handouts. Anything else, council would? If not, again, we'd be looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Keelan, second by Whitman, that we approve the regular agenda with those 2 additional handouts and the change in the order of how we do a couple of items. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, under non-agenda items and announcements, we have no additional announcements. We do have time for public input. If there's anybody in the audience or staff or council members that would like to discuss a non-agenda item with us tonight, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and limit your time to 5 minutes or less. Any non-agenda items? Okay, let's move on to department announcements and reports. Kathy?
Well, the last 2 weeks have been very busy for Tina, Dennis, and myself as we were training in Madison on the new financial software. Right out of the gate, we were able to do the payroll while we were down there and set up the accounts payable checks that were going out on Friday. So we've accomplished a lot. Not last week, we were on the utility billing software and we're able to do the tax certification file to the county for those delinquent water accounts. We've set up the new cash register at the front counter, so instead of handwriting cash receipts, we'll be generating regular cash register receipts and having those post directly to the general ledger. So we've got some efficiencies going on. And other than working on the budget documents, that's pretty much all I've been doing.
Besides sleeping, yeah. Okay, thanks, Kathy. Let's move on to the library. Peg?
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Well, we have an International Game Day coming up on Saturday, November 21st, and there'll be games all over the library. So if you want to come in and have a hand of bridge or play Monopoly or bring your checkers with you, please come to the library on that day and have a lot of fun with us. We've also instituted a new Saturday story time, the first Saturday of the month. In the past, we've had evening story times, and it's difficult for families to get home and get fed and then get back out. So we did have a really good showing for our first Saturday story time. We continue to have tablet time on Thursdays at 10 a.m., and this is an opportunity for anybody who has a device that wants to be able to download audiobooks or ebooks to their device, or they have a question that they just want to help us work through that with them. We definitely can help them with that. We have a new gingerbread house and village exhibit, and if you walk down the stairs, it smells like somebody's been baking cookies. So I hope you'll stop in and see that. You are voting with your coins for the best in the show. Our foundation is looking towards some projects and improvements that we're really excited about that will be coming forward. On December 3rd, we have a First Thursday film. It's The Three Godfathers, and it's kind of 3 men and a baby story in a Western setting, so it'll be a lot of fun. Our December 8th Lunch and Learn is author Mike Heft. He wrote a book called Bingo Queens of Oneida, and it's really the beginning of the gambling piece for the Oneida Nation. Our next year's theme is Feed Your Mind Read, and we're going to be partnering with Park and Rec and Theta Care and a lot of different organizations within the city. It's a health and wellness opportunity for us, for our department and for the community. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Peg. Brennan?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. My report's on page 24 of your packet. Just a couple updates. On Monday, the RFPs for the city's market study and downtown master plan were submitted. We have a total of 18 proposals, 14 of them being a joint proposal with the teams submitted on both of them. Then we have 4 market studies proposals as well. We'll be looking to start reviewing those with a selected team here shortly, which will include a couple staff members, plan commission members, state and regional officials as well. Hopefully, doing some interviews later December and bringing a recommendation to council in January. On that, we were fortunate to receive STP funding for Main Street. So that was announced to us earlier this week, so that will be coming forward to you guys shortly for consideration. Working on the parking study right now. We had a downtown business forum and public meeting at the end of October. And the second data collection has occurred. We are going to be inputting a survey on the city's website along with the Facebook page to get some more citizen input and comments regarding parking in the downtown area, so be on the lookout for that shortly. We are down to 3 code enforcement candidates right now. All 3 of them will be getting background checks here shortly, and hopefully we'll be making a selection next week for consideration. In December, Josh and I will be bringing forward some recommendations for some code enforcement and building inspection software. We've been reviewing a multitude of software packages that will help streamline the process, but also make our department more efficient in the future. And just 2 updates. I did submit last week on behalf of Doc Addy's Brewery and Distillery an application for Community Development Investment Grant dollars. This is a similar program that we applied for last year for our downtown master plan and also Lucky Tree. We were awarded the dollars for the planning study, but not for the actual implementation grant. So we were trying for round 2 here. And on a positive note, Presto did close on the Affinity building last week, Tuesday, and we'll start renovation and construction in January. That's all I have.
Thank you, Brennan. Let's go to Justin.
Thank you, Mayor. My update's on page 25 of the packet. The wastewater department, I mentioned we had a buildup of struvite in some of our pipes. It's basically a mineral that just kind of builds up. Staff worked on that pretty diligently, found a solution to that using some muriatic acid solution and a pump. So something that seemed like could be a pretty expensive repair a number of years became a simple solution. So kudos to those guys. The mercury reduction program, we have all but 1 dentist in compliance. And I got contacted by the contractor who was hired by the dentist to install their separator, and that should be in by the end of November. So that program should be 100% compliant by the end of the year. And the staff at the plant noticed an uncharacteristically low BOD content with the influent in the plant. BOD is biological oxygen demand, which means it's the amount of oxygen that is needed to treat the water or it basically break down the organic compounds. So if that's low, it's good for the plant. We don't really have to do a whole lot. If it's high, the plant has to work harder. However, with it being such a level, we're looking into it. We've identified that most of the low BOD is coming from the south part of town. But the nature of this test, it takes 5 days to come up with the results. So it's a work in progress to try and pinpoint why it's low. I'll keep you posted. Street department, the leaf pickup is in full gear. With the weather we're continuing to have, I mean, we're getting good production of picking up our leaves. We should have it pretty much wrapped up by the end of the month. Tomorrow we are interviewing for our skilled crewman position that we had posted. We have 5 applicants that we will interview. Still shooting for early January hire. And I guess the whole labeling of the positions, we are going to change crewman to operator. So a skilled crewman will be a skilled operator. A crewman will be an operator. Street crews done a lot of rodding and flushing of the sanitary mains, just routine maintenance of this time of the year, and keep crossing your fingers for no snow because that helps out our street guys a lot. Water department, we have ordered the cell phone caps endpoints for our meters. Basically that utilizes cell phone technology to do the meter reads instead of sending a guy out. Those should be on the way that we're going to install on the city meters first to see kind of how they work as a trial. Myself and the entire water crew went to a training. We saw basically what Badger Meter presents as the whole package of this, getting the software, getting your whole town on board. It seems very efficient, very user-friendly. Really excited about it, but obviously we got to continue to evaluate and see if we can make this work within our community. But definitely the positives with that is that this software would allow or tell us where leaks are, tell us where backflow is, and tell us where people are tampering with meters. There's also the persons who are living in their houses also have the software. It's a different version, but they can see that stuff as well. So we think it'd be a really good thing to help with the water conservation and also reduce complaints as people would see how they're using their own water. And facilities, we hired a new custodian, started in mid-October, and that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Justin. When you say new custodian, it's a replacement.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Aaron, thanks. Parks and Rec.
Thank you, Mayor. My report is on page 9 of your packet. Touch on a couple other things. I just want to say Josh is working hard to keep up with the leaves in the parks, just like Justin's crews on the streets and the residents. I think everything's pretty well under control with that in the cemetery, so he's done a good job with that. We're also fortunate enough to have some of our part-time summer crew guys be able to help us later into the year, which has helped, especially with Rick Martin's absence in the cemetery. Josh has also been blowing out water lines, and he has completed that project for the winter. If you guys remember, Mr. Lyons and the Falkses were here to give a presentation on a dog park months back. Just to give you a quick update, we're exploring some other options, and that's where we're at. You might see something in the future, but we're still working with Mr. Falks on that. Halloween party. Andrew and Sarah did a fantastic job with the Halloween party once again. I know it's really hard to kind of say how many people were there, but in the past we've always said about 300 to 400 was our estimate, and I think that it was no less busy. So they did an awesome job planning and working that. Same with our senior volunteers and other volunteers that we had. We have a United Way mailing this week. Speaking of volunteers, we send out 7,500 of these letters. So if anyone has some extra time on Thursday and wants to stop by, we could use your help. We have about 20 to 30 seniors that help us do that. And then the senior center, the past 5 years at least, has been a beneficiary of a $2,500 grant from the United Way, which helps offset operations, which has been great. That'll be an all-day event on Thursday. Josh Werner's helped us with our phone system. I mentioned that in our report. Josh, thank you for that. Our phone system is in dire needs of it. We couldn't make conference calls. It would cut out. There has been times where it's cut out on customers, and it was old. Donations, the donations that I referred to in my report, I just wanted to give a thank you to the Waupaca Youth Baseball Association, Softball Association, and the Godfrey family for their donation towards the River Ridge Trail. There's going to be some great projects that come out of all of those. Just to name a few, we're looking at doing some sort of a boardwalk, or it's called a punch-in, on the River Ridge Trail on the Brainerd's Bridge portion with a $5,000 donation. It's always a low spot, especially in the spring. Hard to pass when it's wet. Also, we're looking at putting some bullpen areas at Swan Park, adding field conditioner to help playability of the fields, doing some fence work out there. With the about $40,000 that's going to be donated between the two boards, so that's going to be great, and we've already started some of that. Winter Rec Fest, we did set the date for January 13th, and we will be coming forward with a request to shoot off fireworks again. So I hope you guys allow us to do that, and that's about all I have.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you. Chief Gulk?
Thank you, Mayor. The most notable item outside of the report that's in your packet is Officer Nate Nelson completed his 18-month training program and was removed from probationary status and placed on regular status. And there'll be an item coming up later on the agenda for boiler replacement in the police department building. That'll come up later, but the rest is informational.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Henry?
Thanks, Mayor. Gosh, I think my report's on page 26. Just a couple items. I spent some effort working with Kathy and the other department heads and pulling together the budget that is going to be on the agenda for later for adoption. I have been working, trying to get involved in a little bit with our airport managers' personal situation and his health. I've gotten a little more involved than probably would have otherwise on helping develop a snow removal policy for the airport. Paul, we did meet with the Foundry and came up with a revised agreement, so I feel confident that that should work. You might need a little tweak at your board meeting, but I think we're real close. So I've been spending a little more effort than might have otherwise. Attached to my report is the Win TV or the Community Media IT report. And I guess I'd like to just pick up one point in Josh's summary here that I'm not sure it's a good thing or a bad thing, but you know, we have free Wi-Fi downtown, and we had 2,300 separate users on that in the past month. Now, this is a low-grade signal that people living downtown aren't going to pick it up. You have people parking in, you know, around the library. They might be using the library's connection or City Hall connection. It just speaks to the fact that we have so many people in the Waupaca area. I think this is a conclusion to draw that just don't have internet access, and they come and use our system. So I think that's a fairly significant number. And then finally, Brennan mentioned the STP grant. I think that was great news. They actually announced the grant. They said it was going to be announced by the 17th, which was today, and we learned of it yesterday. So they were on the cycle. As Brennan said, there will be an agreement that will be coming forward. But I think it's worth noting that to thank the county, because they allowed us to have their allocation, which beefed up our application.
Does everybody understand what the STP,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
do you remember that, what it is?
That's, we're going to be able to leverage a lot of federal dollars for our Main Street project. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to be successful in the community development block grant cycle when that comes up next May. So, you know, we're all working as staff to leverage a lot of outside money for that project. So I think that was a really positive news. So, thank you.
Good, all right. Thanks, Henry. It's always good to get good news on Monday.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on then. We're going to skip number 9 for a little bit here and go to 10. Which is new business, and we have a request. I know we have a couple of individuals from the blood drive that are here today. We have a request from the Waupaca Community Blood Drive for use of the City Hall grounds. Would you like to step up? Just give your name, please, for the record.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Cy Lawrence, and I am the Special Events Coordinator with the Community Blood Center. And with me today is Laura Wolfgram, our account manager for the Waupaca area blood drives. So the Community Blood Center has worked with generous donors to provide blood for hospital patients. As a nonprofit organization, we are committed to serving the community by providing a reliable blood supply to 18 hospitals in Wisconsin and Michigan, one of them which is Theta Care Medical Center right here in Waupaca. We are requesting for the city of Waupaca to secure 2 dates for us next year. The first date is Tuesday, July 12, 2016. The second date is July 19, 2016, from 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. to host our blood drive. We are in the process of booking our summer blood drive events, so only one of these dates will be secured for the Chain of Life blood drive. Last year, we had a record-breaking blood drive registering 127 blood donors, and I anticipate more than 150 people will take part in our exciting event next year. The Community Blood Center is requesting for permission to host our 13th annual Chain of Life blood drive in front of the City Hall and Public Library again. We are requesting to park 3 of our mobile buses in the parking spaces on Main Street, and to include a brat fry on the sidewalk grounds by the gazebo for our donors. This will also include free dilly bars, compliments from Dairy Queen. We'd also like to have a tent for donors to register and complete their paperwork, and then in hopes to help announce the blood drive to all Waupaca area residents. A banner on the grounds of the City Hall would be extremely helpful. There would not be any assistance needed to put the stakes in the ground for the banner. We'll also contact an equipment rental center to take care of setting up and taking down a tent. And with that said, I have Laura up with me here at the podium. If there are any questions, we are open to answer any.
Anybody have any questions? How soon will we know which date you are going to pick?
We're working on securing those dates. So I would say next week with Thanksgiving, the beginning of December, we're looking at having that date secure with us.
Okay, good. And you'll notify City Hall then when you have that date?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
So last year, the parking spaces out front were all coned off and reserved. I think either the police department did it the night before or the morning of. So we would need that to happen again so that there aren't any cars parked there in the morning when we come with the mobiles.
Okay. Absolutely. Does everybody understand what their request is?
And since we're here tonight, I just thought I would thank the community of Waupaca for all the units that have been donated. We run several drives here in Waupaca, Theta Care Medical Center, and then several other businesses. We collect about 1,000 units a year from Waupaca and from the Waupaca community members, and we actually provide over 1,000 units a week. So with the blood that we collect here annually, it's meeting, one of our goals every week that we need to provide. So thank you to the community.
You can't promote it. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't promote it.
Okay. So any other questions? If not, again, we'd be looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Hackett, a second by Hagan, that we approve of the Waupaca Community Blood Drive, which will either be on July 12th, 2016 or July 19th, 2016, and they'll let us know within the next couple of weeks which date that is. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have, Henry, you want to do this one?
Thank you, Mayor. There is a cover memo concerning this action item, starting on page 163. We have a couple individuals in the audience. One is Tom Klasnick, pretty close, who is bond counsel helping represent Presto. As Brennan said, they have closed on the property, and they're moving forward, planning their renovation, and there's some financing alternative available to them called industrial revenue bonds, and I think for the number of you that have been on council, you've seen this before. I can let Tom probably give you all the dirty details of it, but the big points to make are this allows Presto to access cheaper cost of funds. We're the conduit, but we're not on the hook for the debt, making the debt payments. And then the other critical item here is I have talked with Linda Teplin, who works with Tom, and relayed to them that the city would require $10,000 from Presto to cover our costs of the transaction, which would be to hire our own bond counsel, which is an action item right after this, at a cost of up to maybe $7,500, and then the balance would kind of cover our internal costs for that. Beyond that, I'm a layman, and I don't know if, Tom, if you want to talk about the process or what the goals of Presto are, and we do have Presto representative who can talk about their projects.
Yes, my name is Tom Klansnick, and I'm an attorney with White Hirschbeck Dudek. I'm actually in Madison. My partner, Linda Templin, is in Milwaukee. Joining me here to answer any questions is Brad Hansen of Presto. Just to give a brief overview, what we're asking this evening is that you pass an initial resolution. This would be the first step in a process which Presto will take forward to issue industrial revenue bonds. These are bonds that are authorized under Wisconsin statute section 66.1103 for the city to issue bonds for economic development purposes. The city is not liable on these bonds except to the amounts that you would receive from Presto to be paid to the bond owner. As Mr. Veliker said, you are a conduit issuer. This doesn't impact your ability to levy taxes. It doesn't count against your the bonding limits that you heard earlier, 5% of the assessed valuation. These do not count against that. If the city were ever to issue so-called bank qualified debt under Internal Revenue Code section 265, these bonds again don't count against that limit, which is $10 million in any given year. What you are doing is authorizing and encouraging economic development. Now, as you've heard, Presto has already acquired this facility, but under the Internal Revenue Code, upon the adoption of a qualified reimbursement resolution, which this initial resolution is, they can go back up to 60 days and refinance any amounts they may have paid out of their pocket, which would free up their cash to do other economic development here in the city of Waupaca. So that's a brief overview. Important to note that before these bonds are issued, there will be many more documents and review by your bond counsel to make sure that the statements I've made tonight are true, that you are not liable at all in these bonds. I'm able to answer any questions, and Mr. Hanson is able to answer any questions that you might have about the project.
Anybody have any questions on this? We have done this before, Henry. Remind us what projects. Can you remember?
Gusmer Enterprises was one. They actually came back and were considering a second IRB, and we passed the initial resolution and never followed through. So I'm not sure if they found different types of financing or what. Years and years ago, I think we did one with Bethany Home, I think in probably 1999 or 2000. And that's the two that quickly come to mind. So maybe Cubic Fab and one of their projects too. But I'm certain of Gusmer and Bethany.
And not to put you on the spot, Henry or Kathy, but Tom's explanation is what you understand it to be?
Yeah, I think there's some other, and Linda went into great pains. I think sounded like she's almost representing us, so don't tell her that. But, you know, Kathy's aware of some other options available to you guys. One would be you could go to the county and issue an IRB through them, but she felt that that was complicated because they represent the whole county and this is a city thing. And then there is another group, and I can't think of the name, that's sort of statewide, but the cost of issuance is much, much more. So it makes the ability for them to keep their cost to a minimum harder. So I think most cities do this if these businesses are in their own communities to sort of facilitate their development and be a partner. Yeah.
Okay, by passing this initial resolution tonight, again, this will come back at a future meeting, is that correct? After our bond council has a chance to look at it, or is it contingent upon our bond council approval?
No, we're asking that once you adopt this initial resolution, that's it for this evening. These bonds under 66.1103 are issued in two stages. One is the initial resolution. There is a notice to electors that gets published in which the electors of the city of Waupaca have 30 days to petition for a referendum. That I won't say never happens. It's happened, to my knowledge, once or twice in the past, but it almost never happens. So that after that 30-day period has elapsed where people can petition for a referendum, then Presto would come back with another resolution to issue the bonds. But I would not anticipate this happening in the next 30 or 60 days. They would figure out their financing, whether they want to pursue this opportunity. As Mr. Veliker mentioned, you've had another initial resolution adopted where no bonds were ever issued. What I'm saying is that sometime in the future, there will be another resolution authorizing the issuance of bonds and having the specific terms of the bonds, the interest rate, the maturities, the security for the bonds, other agreements between Presto and a bond purchaser. And at that point, your bond counsel would have a chance to thoroughly vet all the documents and the protections for the city. But this resolution is not contingent on further review.
Okay. All right, everybody understand? Okay, so we'd be looking for a motion to approve this resolution, this initial resolution.
I would so move.
Second. Motion by Mayo, second by Keelan, that we approve of this initial resolution regarding industrial development revenue bonds financing for Reynolds Presto Products Incorporated. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Jillian Peterson. Aye. Paul Hagan.
Aye.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
Alan Keeland.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Eric Olson. And Paul Mayo.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
All right, and then to go along with this, we are looking for to use Quarles and Brady's to represent the city on this, for this bond council. So we're looking for to enter into a letter of engagement, and we would need a motion to do that.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Hackett, second by Whitman, that we enter into a letter of engagement with Quarles and Brady's to represent the city on this issue. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Paul Hagan. Jillian Peterson. Paul Mayo.
Aye.
Alan Keeland.
Aye.
And Eric Olson. 10 ayes, motion carried.
All right, well, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night. Okay, let's go back to number 9, which is unfinished business. And the first item under there is the, to consider the veto that I made on the WaupacaOnline.net budget, which is on page 106 and through 109 on in your packet. Here's your options. Obviously, you have opportunity to discuss. If you would like to override my budget, you would make a motion and a second to override that veto, and it would take, I think I maybe said 8 people, but it takes 2/3 majority or 7 alderpersons to override the veto. If you do not want to override the veto, you could then approve the Waupaca Online budget that is in your packet that has been adjusted, as Kathy has explained to you earlier. Okay? And I guess the third thing you could do is not make a motion at all, but we do need to have a budget for Waupaca Online at some time before the end of the year. So I'll open it up.
Mayor, I'd move to approve the 2016 Waupaca Online budget.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayo, second by Whitman, that the council adopts the revised 2016 Waupaca Online net budget. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Paul Hagan. Eric Olson. Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Jillian Peterson. Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Alan Keeland,
Aye.
Chuck Whitman,
Aye.
and Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, next is the 3% water rate increase. Again, you have the opportunity to vote to override my veto, and again, it would take 7 votes to override the veto, or, Henry, you want to explain how we get to the process of delaying this? Or Kathy?
Yeah, I think both of us touched on it in various memos, but it's basically following up with Kathy that we'll get our audit in the April timeframe. She talked about a rate of return. We're also kind of running a dual track with Justin moving forward on the looping project, which is a big cost plus a couple well rehabs. And once that all comes together, I think in like the May, June timeframe, we would bring this discussion of a rate increase to you, and that you don't need to deal with it at this point in time.
Okay.
Did I hit everything, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you understand your options here? Do we have a motion?
Henry, can I ask, what's different about looking at this in 6 months versus now?
Well, I think there was some concern that we're moving too quick when we don't have all our information. We don't know how the water fund's finally going to end up at the end of the year. And it's just, I think just giving the board, the council, as much information as you can to make a decision, because it seems like you have the option at some future point of 3 to 6%, or that it's one or the other, right?
It's 3% that we would get on the simplified rate case. By delaying it, what we do is the PSC looks at the 2015 net operation income. Right now, it's looking at the 2014 operation income. So I would prefer that we just wait one more year just to see where, if we're continuing to decrease our revenues. There was a decrease from 13 to 14 in our net operating income of about almost $17,000. So I think if we do another trending, see where if our conservation in our water rate, our water usage is going to still require us to have a rate increase.
Okay.
That's
Anybody else have any other comments, questions?
So we're looking for a motion to delay the rate increase, is that?
Yeah, I mean, you could vote to override the veto. You could make a vote to just delay it, or you could just not make a vote at all. And then they would bring it back when they were ready to do that, to give you a plan.
All right, well, I'll move that we delay the 3% water rate increase until a point in the future where it's appropriate to bring it back.
Okay. We have a motion by Mayo and a second by Olson that council recommends delaying the discussion on the water rate increase until sometime early to mid 2016 timeframe. Any discussion?
Kat, are you going to have when will you have better handle on our rate of return?
The rate of return we should have by the final audit in February.
Okay.
So when the auditors come in to do final, we should have what our rate of return is.
Would it make sense to look at it at that point versus the summer?
What we would need for the simplified rate case is 45 days to notify the customers of the rate increase. So I would probably do a rate increase as of July 1st, or we could do it as of June 1st. That would probably be about right. because I want to make sure that when we file our PSC report, which is due April 1st, I want to make sure that that's in the system before we do file it. So I would probably go with the July 1st rate increase.
That's assuming that we do a rate increase.
Right.
Well, we want to take a look at what our return of investment is and what our usage is, and that delaying this will give us both of those information.
Right. Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Scott, go ahead.
Could you state the motion again?
Right.
It seems like
Seems a
we're
bit
delaying the
ambiguous.
3% increase, so it sounds to me like we're going to increase it 3% sometime?
No, I said
No?
delay the discussion.
Discussion, okay.
Delay the discussion on the rate increase.
Okay.
That's all I said, it didn't I?
Okay,
hope
that's
so.
good, that's,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's clarified, that's fine. Sounds good.
Okay.
And you're okay with that, Mr. Mayor, about?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, any other discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Chuck Whitman,
Aye.
Jillian Peterson,
Aye.
Alan Keeland,
Aye.
Steve Hackett,
Hey.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Eric Olson, Lori Chestnut,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
and Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, and then the third veto, you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you override my veto here, because, when I vetoed it, I wasn't sure whether the 3% rate increase was in there, as Kathy explained in her memo, and then again tonight, it was not in there, so I'm okay with the water budget as is. So we would need a motion, if you would like, to override the mayor's veto.
You know, I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to override your veto.
Second.
The rest of the people waited just a little bit. Okay, we have a motion by Hagan,
It was Hackett, second.
a second by Hackett, that we, council overrides the mayor's veto on the 2016 water fund budget. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Steve Hackett,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Lori Chestnut,
Aye.
Chuck Whitman,
Aye.
Jillian Peterson,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
and Alan Keeland.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, next then we have, ordinance number 12-15. Justin, this is you.
Yep, this is the second reading of this ordinance change. Like last time, you can find this in the packet on page 110, and included in that is the memo, the new ordinance, the new permit, the old permit, and the old ordinance as well. I'll just kind of go through and review it one more time, a little quicker this time, just to make sure everybody's on board with it. So of the major changes that happened is the requiring that a permit is required from outside services whenever they're working within our right-of-way. That includes within the grass, which was not included in the last, or in the current ordinance. The fee also increased from $150 to $300. Made it more simplified. Instead of doing a square footage, we're basing it based on a cut or an excavation. Included a bunch of wording. In section 3, the first was to put more emphasis on safety of the traveling public. Throughout that whole section, there's a lot more wording just to improve the contractor's awareness of the type of material, their efforts, and what is needed and acceptable within our right-of-way. And of course, at the end, there is additional wording to help protect the local property owners, that when they disturb yards, lawns, grass areas, they need to restore it, and they're also responsible to restore it up to 1 year. And that has to be reviewed and approved basically by the street superintendent, in this case Roger Hansen. And also they need to remove all those utility locate flags. Then finally, another big change was at the very end with wording that if anything with the work that was involved with the permit, if it settles or fails, that they are required to come back and replace it. And if they refuse, that we will replace it, and then we are allowed to charge them time and materials.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Justin, you didn't get any comments in between this
No,
meeting?
this ordinance or this permit is usually towards contractors, service providers, you know, tying in a sewer line, water line, gas lateral. So it's usually contractors. So I've been dealing mostly with We Energies, AT&T, Falks Brothers, or mainly the people that would come forward and ask for this permit. So really the general public is not very concerned with this. With the fact that it's protecting them, I feel it's protecting them more, that the work is proven and it does not settle or fail. So if it does, then they have to come back. And it's also protecting us, so it's within our right-of-way, our streets, our sidewalks.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? Otherwise, this is, as he said, the second reading, so we would be, with a motion, we would be approving or adopting this ordinance tonight.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Whitman, second by Dave Peterson, that we adopt ordinance number 12-15. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Alan Keeland.
Aye.
Paul Hagan.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Jillian Peterson. Eric Olson. And Paul Mayo.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
All right, thank you, Justin. Next, we have a review and of the job descriptions. Henry, you want to take this?
Yes, Mayor. My cover memo on this begins on page 117. This project started in May. It was part of a larger project, but council authorized just moving forward with the job description rewrites. We have approximately 50 descriptions. In the case of the library, they had gone through a couple-year process updating there, so they were being reviewed more just on the legal and Fair Labor Standards aspects of it. But in any event, this was authorized probably 2 meetings ago. I asked the question and received some concurrence from the group that you didn't want to deal with 50 job descriptions. That would have been a lot. You are, as a group, responsible for the hiring and discipline of myself and the other, well, not the police chief or the library director, but generally these positions are the ones that directly report to you. So it seemed like a reasonable way to get through the review of this. And then, so as my recommendation states, I'd recommend that you would approve these job descriptions and then direct the staff, which would principally be led by me, to go ahead and finalize every other job description in the city and get them placed on file. For your benefit and anybody else listening, we do have our old job descriptions up on our website, so these would replace those. So I can let you know, I'm not thinking it's going to take more than a week or so, 2 weeks, to get everything finalized and get that all up, and so they'll be available for everyone to see in just a couple weeks. If you have any questions?
I do have a couple of questions, quick ones. One's pretty simple, one just for my own benefit. I don't know the difference of exempt or non-exempt.
Well, exempt is salaried, basically, and non-exempt is they're not exempt from the Fair Labor Standards Act, so they're hourly and they qualify for overtime. Yeah.
The other one dealt with the Park and Rec's description, his job on page 129. And it's under that, where you say who is he in charge of, under his supervision, you specifically list 3 and 5 and 70. And every other job description just gives a general term that they're in charge of all employees under them, without giving any number. I'm wondering if you're not binding yourself somehow by putting a specific number in there. That's the only question.
Well, I think what happened there is each department had,
The way it is now.
well, each department was responsible for theirs in their area. And I think probably Aaron was just a little more dutiful in putting that in there, but maybe he wants to respond to that.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought, Dave, that we did make some edits in some of our other supervisory positions, such as like a recreation coordinator and Josh, our park supervisor.
This would just be your job description?
And this is just mine.
Yeah.
So when the other ones are done, that will reflect something very similar to that.
I'm just worried about you saying you're directly over 3. But if you had 6 full-time employees.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think he's thinking, let's go
Sure.
a little more
Flexible.
general. And that's probably a good comment.
Sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That could be changed, I suppose.
Finance director also has an
Well,
Henry, are you telling us that they wrote their own job descriptions?
well, we actually, the descriptions on file talked about who these department heads and other people had supervisory responsibilities. It did list them in the old description. So this is not something that is totally new. It's, I guess you could argue it both ways. If we hire another full-time employee in the Park and Rec Department, I guess it'd be duly noted, and when we redo job descriptions in 6 or 8 years, the essence of the job isn't changing. There's still responsible supervision and managing of budgets and those key points. So, these probably need to be looked at a little more regularly than every 15 years. You think Kathy had a comment?
Go ahead, Kath, I'm sorry.
I think when the GovHR went in there and put in the supervision and the number of employees, it was just to make sure that those employees qualified as exempt and supervisory under the federal law. To be able to be a supervisory employee, you have to have a certain number of employees underneath you, and I think that's just what it is to quantify that exemption as a supervisor. And so they counted how many positions are underneath them and put in a number. I think that's the reason why. Just so that we satisfy federal regulation.
You okay with it? Yeah. I'm not sure that I don't disagree with you, Dale. I think I agree with you. I mean, couldn't you make that work, Kathy, by just saying more than to make sure that it?
Sure, well, they could do that, and that would be fine. That is 2 or more. I think they have to have 2 or more employees that they supervise.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's that big of a deal, but I think it's, every time you're gonna hire somebody or get rid of somebody, you gotta go back in and change the job descriptions. I don't think that makes sense. So I agree with you. So, would we like to see that changed, or? Okay, you understand, Henry?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Could you change it to like what the library has here? It says directly or indirectly supervise all employees and volunteers.
You were talking about you
Like
need
that,
a
or doesn't
number
that work?
though.
I think that they might have just done it for the number based on,
Do you need the numbers or?
I would say that it would be more the generic. These are department heads
Right.
where they are going to have more than 2 employees to supervise or more than 1 employee to supervise. So I don't think that having a generic term is going to be a problem to exempt these employees. It's when you get into the supervisory employee, the frontline supervisor, where you may have to have that they supervise 2 employees or more. So this one could easily be what, like Alderman Whitman has suggested, is more generic of supervise the employees of the department.
Okay.
And I'm assuming by moving this way that the lower job descriptions will kind of do something similar, be a little more generic.
Anybody else have any other comments about the job descriptions at all? Go ahead, John.
On the Public Works Director, there's a bullet point on page 127 that says he coordinates the Board of Public Works meeting agenda. We don't have a Board of Public Works.
Yeah, that probably should be deleted at this time.
Missed that one.
Any other comments?
I want to know why Kathy only has to live 25 pounds and everybody else has to live 50.
Because I wrote my job description.
Oh, okay.
See, I told you.
Didn't we pay for somebody to write those?
Yeah, I thought we did.
I could tell Mr. Remmings was a higher lady. What did his say? He said something that I thought he wrote something.
That was good.
His was high.
Anybody else have any other comments? I just have one comment because it looks a little different to me, Henry. Under the Public Works description, this has to do with actually the mayor's position, but it says supervision, city administrator and mayor. But when you look at like, let's say the director of public works, it just says the city administrator. Okay, so I would think they would be the same, right? I mean, it's a given that they're.
Yeah, because we work closely with you at the department head level.
I mean, I'm okay either way. The only thing that I would say justifying that the mayor should be there is he's the one that actually
you appoint.
Appoint. But either way, I mean, it's, you know, city administrator and then it's the council above that, so. But those should all be uniform, I would say.
Is that how the council wants it too? Because it is the mayor's appointment with your ratification, so doesn't matter. Okay, so we'll add the mayor back in.
So, Henry, let me understand again. We're approving these department heads and yours job descriptions tonight, and then we are giving you a blanket approval of all the other job descriptions.
To finalize them and get them done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not approving them, or are we?
Well, to finalize them and put them on file.
Okay.
If you want, we could stick them out there and have you all look at them and ask if you have any concerns about them before they all get finalized. Or we can bring them all back. I was just trying to eliminate, you know, having to review 50, but maybe you want to do that. We can, you know, there's a couple comments that I heard here that we need to go back and check on. This is the supervision piece would be the main one. The department heads, to my knowledge, have reviewed them and have been okay, so, but I think we can I'll go back and look at them one more time, make sure we've caught everything.
How close are you to finalizing all the employees?
I think we're pretty close. I'm just waiting on the library to kind of go through. They had a particular format they wanted to try to use,
So if we,
but everybody else.
so if you did that and you stuck them out on the web, and let's say 30 days from now, we just act on all of these at one time?
We could put it on the agenda, you know, and you guys could go out there at your leisure and look at them, and
If you want to.
if you have questions, you know, there's a lot, and we missed one or two here. Maybe you'll find something that you see that, you know, you want to comment on. Definitely do that.
Hey, go ahead.
The library positions will also have the library logo as well as the City of Waupaca logo at the top. So just note that that'll be different.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be fine. I mean, we're all,
Are we okay with that, or are you ready to vote tonight? Do you want to just delay this until, let's say, the second meeting in December? Let's do that.
so even the ones that are on the agenda, just put them all up at once?
Yeah, then we'll just do one blanket vote then, when we have an opportunity. Okay, so we're gonna table this? Can I have a motion to table this then?
I would so move.
Second.
Motion by Mayo, second by Dave Peterson, that we table this, job descriptions until our, second meeting in December. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, next, this is one of your handouts. This has got to do with the labor union that we have with the police department. Henry, you want to go ahead with that?
Yes, we caucused and discussed sort of where the final agreement was. You said, okay, go ahead, let's get it done. And in the course of getting the document finalized, the issue on the schedules came up. The wording got shared with the command staff at the police department. They had some concerns. As a bargaining committee, I think we just assumed that was all fine. And when they put words to paper, you know, there was some concerns. But this wording here was reviewed. Basically, we're going to try some new shifts to give maybe a little better coverage. It still gives the police department flexibility in scheduling, and then before the end of next year, they'll review them because the contract's just 1 year, and a decision, I think, at that time will be made about the schedules, which ones that will ultimately be followed. And it'll be discussed at that time. The only other two items were the 1% wage increase, and we upped the uniform allowance, I think, $25 from $450 to $475. But I'm just sharing with you because the contract you got with the packet, this wording is different. And Chief, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, we just noticed this today. It makes reference to the Personnel Committee, which, again, doesn't exist. So I don't know if that should be stricken or leave it as is. We just noticed that this afternoon.
I'm not sure they're going to have an issue with that, but it's, we've been operating probably 2 cycles with this going right to the council. Maybe 3 contracts, because we've been doing a lot of annual agreements.
Have they approved this?
They have ratified it. I have 3 signed copies with me with this new language, or upstairs. So they have ratified it.
John, do we have any issues with having that on there, Personnel Committee? Okay. But when we do a contract in the future, we'll change that. Thank you, Chief, for seeing that, though. Okay, so as you heard from Henry, the police union did ratify this, and they've signed already, so If you're okay with this, we would be looking for a motion to approve or ratify this agreement.
I make a motion, we ratify this agreement with the,
I'll second.
Motion by Hackett, second by Chestnut, that we ratify this agreement with the WPPA. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Chuck Whitman,
Aye.
Steve Hackett,
aye.
Lori Chestnut,
Aye.
Paul Mayo, Jillian Peterson, Alan Keeland,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Eric Olson, and Dave Peterson.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, let's, we're into the budget here, so, this is dealing with, the whole budget at one time here, right? Kathy, how do you, I mean, it's all under one resolution, so you, when we get done, hopefully tonight, we're just gonna make one motion that will approve all of these different,
Correct, that's
Okay.
what's in the resolution, that and the tax levy.
okay. So you heard under the public hearing, Kathy's discussion on the budget and the differences or changes that you probably heard from before. I guess I'm just want to know what your thoughts are. Council members, what would you like to see us doing right now? Discussion? Where do you want to go? I mean, I do have another recommendation, but I would like to allow council to discuss their ideas and thoughts before I do that. Scott, go ahead.
I have a question for Kathy on, is our city mill rate going to be going down by 10 cents then? I'm a little-
Yes.
So it will last, whatever it was last year, it'll be 10 cents lower with this.
Our base levy, just the city's portion.
Right.
So when you do look at it, there will be, the TIF increment will be added to that. So this does not include the TIF increment. This is
Okay.
just strictly what we need for the levy that you're passing. Because what the increment is the increment.
Okay.
But you're right, the mill rate is going down 10 cents
Okay.
per thousand, basically. I know that at the last meeting, Paul, you had a suggestion, and I think Kathy's prepared to address that. He was talking, you want to?
I'm fine with this. I wanted to throw that out there just as an option. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any comments, thoughts? I've had some discussion with Kathy. Okay, if I go ahead. I've had some discussions in the last week with Kathy and Henry, and I think it's going to be easier for them to explain what I'm trying to do, but it is coming from the mayor's office. Okay? So just hear it out.
Ladies first.
See what your thoughts are on this.
Okay, we have, in the discussion with Mayor Smith, one of the proposals is to help the employees under the city's new health insurance plan to absorb the 2.6% increase in the premium that they're bearing. When the first discussion came through of a flat dollar amount to be provided to all of the participants, after further discussion with our employee benefit consultant, that would become a qualifying event and open up the health insurance, and she is not recommending that. One of the other options is to give a premium holiday or premium contribution holiday to those employees, so that we would try and make up the amount, but not quite the full amount of the increase of the 2.6 to the employees. So right now, 2 months out over the next year, we would not deduct the employees' premium contribution for those employees on the health insurance. So those dollar amounts fluctuated in that another option of that plan would be is to only give it to the general employees who contribute to the Wisconsin retirement for a premium share, because the police department and the protective employees did not get the full impact of that because they get a 10% premium contribution. They're held, whatever the rate is, the premium is, they only pay 10%, whereas the general employees have been capped with the city's contribution to the health insurance being for a family plan around $15,000, and any increase over and above is borne all by the employee. So I ran a couple of those funding scenarios. Just give me a minute to bring that up. The cost of it was brought about as $500 for each of the employees, and that option was about $22,100 with Social Security as a one-time lump sum payment that wouldn't even be contributed to Wisconsin retirement. The 2-month premium for all of the health insurance plan employees would be $13,100 in a premium taxable holiday, as the benefit coordinator called it. To do only the general Wisconsin retirement contributing employees would have been $11,621. The impact on each of the different funds is very minimal when you break that down. Less than $7,500 for the general fund, $1,800 for the library fund, $1,500 for the water fund, and $2,000 for the wastewater treatment fund. So the total amount of the impact is not enough to make a change in that 10-cent reduction in the tax levy. You would need to have at least $40,000 to even go up even a penny with your tax rate. So one of the funding mechanisms would be we would put this in the general fund budget. It is not included right now in the general fund budget that I presented earlier. It would be an addition, and we would absorb it within the budget with the contingency, or we could even transfer additional funds into the general fund or the other funds from the debt service fund to absorb this, whichever option that you want to recommend.
Thank you, Kathy. Henry, the only thing that I want to add to that is the thought here is that the employees are receiving a 1% pay increase, and the cost of health insurance is greater. The additional health insurance they're going to have to pay this year is greater than 1%. So they're actually going to get a pay decrease. So I thought, and I'm kind of going on what Paul Hagan said at the last meeting too, that we don't necessarily want to give them a percentage increase because that's forever. So I thought a set amount that we gave this year, because it did jump quite a bit and there was only a 1% pay increase, would make some sense. It would help them out this year not the full amount, but it would help them out, get pretty close to helping them out. And it would only be a one-time, one-year situation. And as you look at the cost is pretty minimal, but it would mean a lot, I think, to the employees. Okay. And so if you like the idea, I guess the big question is do you want to include all of the employees that are in the health plan? Because remember, there are some employees that opt out, so it didn't really cost them any more money. So the only other employees you would have would be the police department, where they're capped at the 10% health insurance, whether they're in the union or their supervisors also. They're still kept at 10%. So you could include them in there, or you could not include them because the health insurance increase didn't affect them at all. That's your choice. So I think that's really the only question, if you like the idea.
Do you want me to add some dollar amounts? What's the difference? When you have the family plan, you would be giving that person $447. The employee plus one dependent is $317. The single plan's $159. So it's not a whole lot of money. For the police department, you would give a single employee $108 because their premium is less. And a employee plus one is $215. And if they are employee plus one or two on the higher deductible plan because they still do not contribute to Wisconsin retirement, that is $209 for an employee plus a dependent and $293. So there is a definite premium difference between the protective and the general employees in their premium share. So, but those are the dollar amounts that you would be giving back into helping the employees absorb the increase in the health insurance.
Okay. Any comments? Understand, Scott?
Very good idea, but are we setting a precedent for future years? Because we know health insurance is always going to go up. I guess or are we just going to say, okay, this is a one-year deal, now next year? No.
Well, this is a one-year deal, Scott.
Right.
And I understand where you're coming at.
Next year is going to be the same situation, maybe. I don't know what this, will they expect it? I don't know.
Well, my thoughts on this is, number one, I understand where you're coming from. Number two, we might be able to, the cost of living increase might be greater next year, so they won't have that biggest difference that they have this year. And that really, you're right, it might make it a little bit more difficult for the council next year's budget to say, no, we're not going to do this for 2017. But again, I think in this situation, as Kathy's explained through this whole budget process, that things are starting to look up for us. And the employees took a big hit, over the last 5 or 6 years, and to just give them a little bit here, I think will go a long way.
Can we comment, Mayor?
You can.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I disagree with your statement that anybody that doesn't have the city insurance is not impacted by insurance costs, because we are. I'm one that does not take the city insurance. My health care costs are significantly more with the state of Wisconsin plan than what the city offers. Now, there's an opt-out that we also get, but there's a fine balance between those two. And now this is being changed at the last hour is unfair to the employees that don't carry the insurance, because now we can't, this is not a qualifying event anymore, even though there is a significant swing in the payment. Secondly, I guess I'm confused where the money is coming from, it was my impression going through this whole budget process that this was the worst year ever, and now we have $11,000, which we didn't have before during our budget process. And thirdly and finally, they just ratified a contract, and I don't know if any of this discussion was presented to them, but usually they talk about what city staff gets and what they want to pursue in their contract. It doesn't seem fair on the surface that that information was not given to them during their negotiation process. Now, I noticed that this was just a last-minute concession. It just doesn't seem fair to me, to the union contract and their negotiations, that they can't even negotiate any part of this, because their deal is already done. It was voted on 20 minutes ago. That's really all I had to say. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one answer to the negotiations with the police department is, and I don't think council has, first of all, decided to go along with this, and second of all, I don't think they've decided to exclude the police officers from this. That was just one of the options here. But also, the police union negotiated to stay at the 10% rate. We asked them to raise the amount that they pay towards their health insurance like all the other employees, and they denied it. So we negotiated the best contract we could. They stayed at 10%. The rest of the employees are at 13%?
Well, 15.
15%.
Well, it depends whether you're single or family. I think
So
the
they
family's at 15.
they got their deal. They got their 10%. The answer where you opt out of your health insurance is you do get a payment for that. And I'm not sure that even if you're on a family policy, which was what, $447, that would be enough for you to change your mind and opt back into the health insurance plan. I'm sorry that you think that that might have changed your mind, but I can't believe it would have. I really can't. And not for $447. Because you're still better off being opting out and getting, what is it, $300 and some dollars per month?
$3,900 a year.
Yeah, $3,900 a year. So that's a big difference. Appreciate your comments though, Chief. I know there's going to be some goods and some bads that go with no matter what we do. Paul, I'm sorry.
You know, in concept, I agree that having this type of relief for our employees is a good idea. We need to keep in consideration that, though, is this going to be a precedent-setting situation? And then what happens next year if we decide not to do this? The employees are going to be hit with whatever increase we would have in 2017, plus the increase, not getting these funds again. So it would be a double whammy for them in 2017.
You can spin it many ways, can't you? Bird in the hand.
Mayor, you commented that the police department wouldn't be affected at all by a premium increase. And that's why we should consider excluding them. If their premiums go up, they're paying 10%, their contribution still goes, dollar amount goes up, their percentage doesn't go up. Correct?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not proposing that you don't include the police in there. That was just one of the options.
Okay,
But,
okay.
yeah, I mean, I just thought I'd give you that option.
Right. But if their premiums go up, if the overall premium goes up, their contribution dollar-wise goes up because it's 10% is based on an increased number.
Well,
No, I didn't want to.
well, I was only going to say that you look at a 10% increase where the other employees were at, theirs went up. Not only did their premium go up, but also their percentage went up too because of that.
Right. I acknowledge that there's a difference, but I think maybe I misunderstood you, that the premium increase wouldn't affect the police officers at all.
Well, I probably did say that because I was looking at it from a percentage standpoint.
All right, I understand.
Yeah.
I think it's been a compounding issue. You can't ever get parity. As much as we've tried through my whole time here negotiating these things and being on a team, but this has been compounding itself for probably at least 3 years and maybe 4, because all employees were at 10%. And I could be wrong, but at least 3 years ago we went to 12.6. And then we've been paying 12.6 because when we renegotiated our health insurance, we didn't see a rate increase for 2 years. So one class of employees was paying 10% and have been for 3 or 4 years, while the other class of employees has been paying more. Now, again, it's hard to compare apples to apples all the way through, but it sort of has compounded over the years. But those are negotiated. That's been negotiated, and the city agreed to those contracts. So it's not a, it's not putting any blame on it. It's just that it has been impactful, I should say.
Henry, are all the deductibles the same for both policies?
No, there are a few. As we've gone down in time, after I think it was July 1 of 11 or 10, anybody hired as a law enforcement employee had to contribute to their pensions. I think we still have 2 employees, maybe 3, that aren't contributing to their pension that are in the union. So they're not contributing to their pension at this point. So they had a different plan that has a higher deductible. And again, that higher deductible comes with a lower premium as well. So they're paying 10% on a lower overall premium. Again, their risk is higher, no doubt about it, if they hit that, get that deductible.
Okay. Again, I didn't want to make this maybe as difficult as it is. Did you have something, Lori, or you just? Nope. Okay. I guess when we vote on the budget or the resolution, well, I guess we could do it a couple of ways. When you make a motion on the resolution, if you're looking to approve it tonight, you could add this line item to it, or you could make that motion at this time, or you could decide not to do it at all at this time, or when the motion on the resolution is taken too. Probably enough said on that now, unless anybody would like to make a motion at this time.
Can I just make one comment? I might be off a little. Do this, call it what you're calling it, a holiday for 2 months. In your mind, aren't you thinking it's like instead of a 1% raise, a 1% raise or something? There's no guarantee they're going to get a 1.5% raise next year, or a 2% raise, or a 1% raise. Just take it as a 1 point something raise, whatever it is, without calling it that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what you're doing. Well, I hear the precedent setting thing. That bothers me a little too, but it's a precedent, but it's not. It's just a little tack onto the raise. I think it should include the policeman.
Okay.
Mayor, I would like to move that council approve of resolution number 1356 with the 2-month holiday for insurance premiums, or the insurance premium increase, and also include the police department in it.
So it would be all employees that are participating in the health insurance plan?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayo, a second by Keelan, that we approve of resolution number 1356, which is the actual budget, adding the recommendation from the mayor on the, what did you call it again, Kathy? The
Premium contribution holiday.
Okay. For all employees that are participating in health insurance. Everybody understand the motion? Discussion. Scott?
What's the total dollar amount this is gonna cost us again? And where is it going to come from?
What are you asking about?
Well,
The second part of this?
Whatever
The whole
it is.
resolution, or?
No, just the second part, this holiday, whatever.
The general fund holiday is $7,700. The library is $1,874. The water utility absorbs $1,425. The sewage treatment plant absorbs $2,032, and online absorbs $32, for a total of $13,063.
Okay. One more, any other discussion? The only other discussion, and Kathy touched on this, but I want to make sure that you're all okay with this. Don't forget that this budget includes a $250,000 contingency fund in there. And I don't know, are you talking next meeting or in 2 meetings?
I should be able to have a fund balance policy and contingency policy for everybody for the first meeting in December.
Okay. So we aren't going to touch it anyways until, if at all, until 2016. So are you okay with not having a contingency fund policy in place, but still approving that $250,000? You can't do anything with it until council has to approve using it no matter what. But they're going to come up with a policy. Obviously, we get to weigh in on that when that happens too. Okay? I just wanted you to understand that. Any other discussion?
So Mayor, it's assumed that if this is adopted, that you will pass a fund or a contingency policy, and that this would come out of that. That's how we would pay for it.
This dollar amount?
The 13,000.
We could. It's up to the council to decide where they want that funding from, but it would be a part of. It would reduce that $250,000 by $7,700.
Yeah, in that general fund. Yeah.
In the general fund.
We also have, I think you stated this in your, that was to me, I guess, but.
The other option would be is to do a increase in transfer from debt service to cover this other option. There is fund balance cash available in the debt service fund.
And again, we're talking $7,500 here. I know it's a lot of money, but it would be very minimal to the debt service. And then you wouldn't be touching the contingency fund. You'd be setting a precedent already if you said that you're going to take it out of the contingency fund tonight. So I would suggest that you take it out of it.
Increase the transfer from 25,000 to 32,000.
Yeah. That would be where the money comes from, Scott. Okay. Any other discussion?
So then this additional funds will be deposited, will be a part of the budget? You have 4 departments? Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to reduce your budget by that dollar amount, no. Okay. Anybody else? All right, you're voting on the budget with that one additional item, and understanding the contingency fund policy will be at a future date. Sandy will call the roll.
Did you get a second?
Yes,
did.
Keelan.
Okay, thank you.
I hope so. Okay. Sandy will call the roll.
Paul Hagan,
No.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Chuck Whitman,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
No.
Steve Hackett,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Lori Chestnut,
No.
Alan Keeland,
Aye.
and Jillian Peterson. 6 ayes and 4 noes. Motion carried.
Okay, let's move on then to, I want to make sure we're right. We just need a majority to pass that resolution, right? I mean, there's, right? Okay. Okay.
Okay, you're going to jump down to new business letter C.
Okay. Let's move over to 10C, which is replacing the police department boiler heating system. Chief Coke? You see, I'm gonna have to rearrange the seating after this here.
The reason this was actually put on as an item was thought that there would have to be payment outside of our current budget, but according to the budget reports, we have money within our budget and the building fund budget that we can cover the cost of this replacement right now. So I don't know if this even needs a motion at this point. I can give you a little summary. This is one of the original, one of 2 boilers in our system. 6 were manual. 6 were actually sold. We were lucky to get 2 of them, and all 6 of them are basically defunct. They can't get replacement parts. They break down quite regularly. They do have an option that they proposed. It would be experimental because they can't fix the real problem that really exists with these boilers. But they would give no guarantee on whether it would be effective or not. The main problem is a flame detection system in there. One is infrared as opposed to some other method, and they're proposing to go with a system that is proven successful and useful in this type of facility, mainly our building, what our needs are. We've been given a significant cost break on the unit itself. The cost, our cost would be about $5,500 with labor less a focus on energy grant, because the boilers that were installed were at about 82 or 83% efficient, which was only 8 years ago. The new ones are 95, 96%. So we'd get a significant rebate from focus on energy to a total tune of about $10,000. Now this is only replacing one of the 2 boiler units, but they're fairly confident that this one boiler will do the work of the previous 2. That's how significant the difference is in the boilers that we have now and what they're proposing. And they'd like to use the one that's being replaced for parts to service the remaining 1 unit, which would only be used as a backup unit. The system totally failed 2 weekends ago, and it was quite cold. They actually went and borrowed a part from one other unit that was in service in Little Chute, Grand Chute, so they kind of took that equipment to bring over for ours temporarily until they could try to get a fix for it. Fortunately, there hasn't been a big call for heat lately, so we've been kind of limping along. So at this point, I guess I don't know if it really needs a vote since we're covering it with our current 2015 funds. Fair?
I don't think you do either, but I appreciate the update. And we did ask the chief about, seems like it's a new building, but how many years have we been in operation there now?
It's been 8 or 9 years, 8 years.
And a boiler system should last longer than that, but our warranty or our guarantee is, we're well past that. It was only 1 year, I think you told me?
1 year full. The new one is really, it's a full 1 year warranty, and it's a 10 year on the heat exchanger, which is better than what we have now. But there's not significant guarantees on these type of systems, apparently. Not like a 20 year or life, nothing like that that we could find that was affordable.
Sure. Sure.
So, and we would be using our current contractor, which is ACC Plant Services, which we've had working on these systems for a couple of years. And actually I have a list of invoices that I paid over the last several years, you know, just to maintain these units, and it's outrageous. It's time for a replacement.
Plus, you're getting a lot more efficient furnace than what you had.
Yeah, and I would think 8 years ago that we would have had that too, so I'm not really clear on that, because 8 years ago there was an energy crisis too, if not 10 years ago, and why they thought 83% was sufficient, I don't know, but this is a much better unit. We're gonna have savings on our heating costs to help make up for this cost also. And with a rebate of about $1,200 to $1,300, that's pretty significant too. But the main cost is labor, because they also determined that it was placed, the whole unit was placed improperly. It was too close to the back wall. That all has to be moved out because they can't get access to some of the parts without dismantling the whole two-system unit, which was kind of interesting and surprising too. So, but you know how new contractors are. They always come in and they blame the previous one. So I take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of it does seem to be quite significant.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chief, for being able to find this within your budget. So, again, I don't think we need a motion as long as it's within his budget. So let's move on then to resolution number 1359. Henry? 55, I'm sorry.
Yeah, page 179. I'm sure you've heard about this initiative at the league level. They have a system in place to try to convince the legislature to adopt, you know, municipal-friendly policies, public policies. And this is one that the league board of directors and the whole league adopted at their annual conference a couple weeks ago, and they're just asking cities to consider this in support of trying to find some more money at the state level for road maintenance and to assist municipalities with this effort. So, you know, if assume that you would approve of this, we would forward it on to the league and our elected representatives so they would know your position on it.
What do you think? Questions? Comments? Motion?
I move to approve.
Motion by Mayo, second by Hagan, that we approve of resolution number 1355. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Eric Olson.
Aye.
Alan Keeland.
Aye.
Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
Jillian Peterson.
Aye.
Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Paul Hagan.
Aye.
Paul Mayo.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
And Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Next, we have a request for a zoning change that went through city planning, and Brennan's going to ask for a special request tonight too on that.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe this starts on page 181. I apologize for being sideways. I don't know why. But we have an applicant over on Berlin Street that backs up to the Waupaca River that's seeking a zoning change on a portion of his property. The applicant purchased the property earlier this year and was looking to construct a detached structure in the rear of their property, but discovered that a portion of it is zoned wetland floodplain. They are seeking to rezone the entire parcel to R1 single family, which would permit the applicant to construct their detached structure in the rear of their property where they're seeking to do it. The wetland or the conservation district does not permit structures within there. That is why the applicant is seeking the rezone. It is a pretty simple and standard procedure moving forward. Plan Commission did make a recommendation to council to waive the first reading this evening. Staff concurs with that recommendation as well. Don't see any major issues with this one, and the applicant has waited a couple months due to the procedural change that had to occur here to construct their garage. They are seeking to start that construction sooner than later. Any questions?
Okay, so procedurally, the first thing that we need to do is, if you agree with this, is make a motion to waive the first reading of this ordinance change. And then after that, you can vote on that. If you decide not to waive, then this would just be the first ruling and you would act on it at the next meeting.
I move to waive the first reading.
Motion by Keelan, second by Jillian Peterson, that we waive the first reading of this ordinance number 11-15.
Mayor, I'd just like to ask something, and that's, why is this such a big rush? The citizens of the city of Waupaca have had no time to hear this before. They aren't aware of what's going on. This is in a wetland area. Why do we have to rush into this?
Technically, it's not within a wetland area. It's an imaginary line on the property that was drawn at one time, but in looking at the rezone, it zones, looking at single family, again, not trying to rush it. Again, this came out of nowhere to the applicant when they purchased the property. They were unaware of the zoning when they went to go build the garage. Staff does not believe that it's a detriment to the property of the surrounding neighborhood, and that's why we made the recommendation to waive the first reading on it. But again, it's completely up to council at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is not in the wetlands, Steve. It's on high ground. It's not in the floodplain.
I haven't gone over there and seen it because a few days ago, that's the first time I heard anything about it.
Yeah, this was this did go through City Planning Commission, and your question, same question you just asked, got asked there also, so. And I think that's why Planning Commission recommended it, because they did find out, even though it says wetland, it really isn't wetland. Okay? You ready to vote on the waiving of the first reading? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. All right, so this is actually in essence, the second reading then, so you could adopt this ordinance if you so choose. Anybody would like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 11-15?
I so move.
Motion by Keelan.
Second.
Second by Dave Peterson, that we approve or adopt ordinance number 11-15. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Jillian Peterson.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Paul Mayo.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Paul Hagan. Alan Keeland.
Aye.
Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
And Eric Olson. 10 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, next we have crop agreement. And Justin, that's your baby.
Thank you, Mayor. Page 190 is the cover memo, and behind that is the proposed agreement and a map showing the areas that are included in the agreement. Just before I start, this is a lease. This is our land, a lease, so the dollar amounts I'm talking about is money that we're getting. So I'll just read from the memo. The agreement and lease of crop and grassland between the City of Waupaca and Mr. Brian Long is scheduled to expire by the end of December 2015. A new agreement has been developed and presented to Mr. Long. He is in concurrence and interested in renewing the agreement for another 5 years, which is 2016 to 2020. The new agreement is structured the same as the previous agreements, but includes an increase in lease price and decrease in grassland acreage. The following table details the changes, so if you're looking at the memo, the amount per acre increased for the cropland, which is typically corn out there, and this is the industrial area, from $65 up to $85 per acre, and the grassland increased from $50 to $60 per acre, and a slight decrease in the total number of acres from 34 to 31. So the previous agreement total was $5,665 a year. The proposed agreement total will be $7,045. UW Extension Agricultural Agent Greg Blondie was consulted regarding land rental rates. The proposed rates take into consideration average crop land value, soil type, and rate of return for expected crops. So this is a crop agreement that's been ongoing and basically just took the old version, duplicated it, but consulted with Greg Blondie for the new rates of what we should be looking to get for return. So with that, I'm recommending the council approve this agreement, this 5-year agreement with Mr. Brian Long.
I'll make a motion, we approve this agreement.
Second.
Motion by Hackett, second by Whitman, that we approve of this industrial park crop agreement with Mr. Brian Long for the years 2016 through 2020. Discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Chuck Whitman,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Jillian Peterson, Eric Olson,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Alan Keeland,
Aye.
Steve Hackett,
Aye.
and Lori Chestnut.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Thank you. Next is the rental of hangar space number 6. Is that,
I think
Paul, you want to do it?
Yeah, I was expecting to.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. This is a hangar space rental between the city and Carol Benjamin for hangar space 6 for a 1-year agreement at $125 per month. And it is recommended that.
And you are making that in the form of a motion?
I certainly can, yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Hagan, second by Hackett, that we enter into a rental agreement with Carol Benjamin for an amount of $125 per month. Discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Jillian Peterson, Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Lori Chestnut,
Aye.
Steve Hackett,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Alan Keeland,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
and Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
And the second one is an aircraft hangar lot lease between the city and PMN Enterprise. This is a lot only. The first year rent will be $1,000, and then continuing after that, $500 per year. This is a 30-year agreement, and I would move for approval.
Motion by Hagan, second by Olson, that we approve of entering into this agreement with PMN Enterprises LLC. You heard the amounts. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Steve Hackett,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Lori Chestnut,
Aye.
Chuck Whitman,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Jillian Peterson,
Aye.
and Alan Keeland.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, next we have, let's see, this is Kathy. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. My item is on page 203, and I had back in April had brought to the council a draft revised investment policy, and at that time the council only passed the resolution and deferred on the investment policy. However, I am now bringing the policy again for approval. I did include the previous policy, and I think the new one is a little bit more explanation, has more explanation as to what investments the city can get into, and also puts in some diversification in the portfolio, which is one of the things that the auditors have written us up in the past for, because we are heavily invested in local bank CDs and nothing else. So my recommendation would be to pass the new investment policy and the resolution to add an additional bank, which would be Pershing Bank, and contract with brokerage services to be able to purchase government agencies and treasuries and municipal bonds through Coastal Securities. Coastal Securities has been in the Wisconsin market for municipalities to invest with and provide brokerage services, at least for the last 15 years. I've also used them for the last 15 years with the Village of Brown Deer and the Village of Greendale. They are available for providing rates that are attractive on municipals. They understand what the Wisconsin statute is for investments, what I can invest and what I can't invest for. They do receive a copy of our investment policy and hold us and only provide us with items that would be qualified under our policy. So if anybody has any questions.
Questions?
The only reason this is coming up is I've had several CDs mature with the local banks, and the reinvestment is less than 1%. And I can get buy some municipal bonds with 1 and 2 year maturities at 170, or go for the callable government agencies, which I can invest at probably around 2% and have a call within 6 months. I would rather see us investing a little bit longer term than 1 year CDs with the local banks, and to be able to have the diversification in the portfolio to get the rate yield that we would get in very secure investment tools.
And the risk between the certificate of deposits versus what you're suggesting is minimal, or?
The risk is a little bit higher with the local banks certificates of deposit, because they are not collateralized and they add up to the amount that the city has within that institution. So I only have FDIC insurance coverage to $250,000. The state fund would give me another $400,000, so it could go up to $650,000. However, if there's a draw on that fund, the likelihood of the state funding a bank failure is very minimal, because it's going to impact a lot of other municipalities. So to have those CDs out there, adding to the amount that I have already in those banks, would just make it easier to have some type of other different investment opportunities for the city.
Okay. Questions? Jillian?
After our last audit, I think we had just under 3.5 million that was uninsured. Will this solve that problem where we don't have any uninsured?
Yes, it will help in diversifying that. Most of that is the cash for the utilities. And what I'm looking at is diversification. After a year and understanding what my core cash is, I can invest a little bit longer term on it, and I don't need to be as liquid in that. And also government agencies are marketable out there, that it shouldn't be a problem if we did have to call. So,
Anybody else? Any questions?
Where is Pershing Bank?
Pershing Bank is in New York.
And pick them, why?
They are the, how would you say it, the holding bank for coastal securities. All of the securities are in our name, but they're held in paper, that, just at that bank. That's the only reason why.
Where is our, do we have something equivalent to a money market fund in addition to a regular ready cash account?
Yes, we do. We have it at all 3 of the local banks. We have a checking account at each bank, and we also have a money market. The money market is getting us probably about 30 basis points right now.
Any other questions? Anybody like to make a motion?
Move for approval.
Motion by Hagan, second by Jillian Peterson, that we approve of resolution number 1357. Any discussion? Sandy will call the roll.
Jillian Peterson. Aye. Lori Chestnut. Aye. Dave Peterson.
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
Steve Hackett.
Aye.
Paul Hagan.
Aye.
Chuck Whitman.
Aye.
Eric Olson.
Aye.
Alan Keeland.
Aye.
And Paul Neal.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, you have license report number 1294. It's on page 222. Again, these are bartender's license, and they are pending background checks and making sure that all their fines owed to the city are paid.
Mayor, just one little enhancement on the report. We're going to try to identify those people that we know have some outstanding receipts to the city. It's more for information for your purposes than anybody. We have one individual this go round. So if we don't collect it, they don't get issued the license.
Okay. All right, we're looking for a motion to approve this license report then?
Move to approve license report 1294.
Second.
Motion by Keelan, second by Chestnut, that we approve license report number 1294. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Nothing under number 11. Number 12, communications recommendations of the mayor. I have nothing at this time except to say we won't be getting together again before Thanksgiving, so everybody have a happy holiday. We'll see you early December. Obviously, council meetings are subject to call, but our next regular scheduled meeting is December 1st. So we'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Keelan, second by Dave Peterson, that we adjourn to our next regular scheduled meeting, subject to call. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We're adjourned at 8:23 p.m. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.